Hello everyone, it's Cribini and Tina.
Hi.
Welcome to the channel. Hope everybody's having a marvelous day and that you guys are in the best of health.
Yes, with health as always being most important. So today we're going to talk apartments, appliances, and most important, looking at listings. Now that kind of might be silly to some people because in the U.S., when you read a listing for an apartment, or a home, and you go to see it, the first concern is always space, right? How big is it? How many rooms? How many bathrooms, etc. The next thing we kind of look for is amenities. I know you do. It's like what kind of fixtures, what type of appliances, what make, year, model, is it going to have what I need, like a built-in microwave, stoves, gas versus electric on the stove. A lot of people have their own choices on that. What makes me feel comfortable? And then after that, we look at things like parks around, gym, parking spaces, garages, security, because of course in the U.S., things are going cuckoo.
Right.
Now that might be your list in the USA, but that is not what you need to address when you're going to start looking for a place to live in the Dominican Republic. First thing, and this is very, very important, is read the listing thoroughly, but you're still going to need to know what things listed, what they actually mean, and ask questions, right? Never be afraid to ask a question.
Right.
For example, furnished versus non-furnished. Now, when we think that in the U.S., we think it's actual furniture, like, oh, it's going to have a couch or dining room area, beds, dining tables, but that pertains to appliances sometimes and not always fully applianced in the DR. So you have to be very specific. A furnished apartment might only mean it has a stove and an oven, doesn't have a fridge. It might mean that there's scarce furniture, but not every piece of furniture. And then again, it might mean you get a fully furnished home with pots and pans and everything that you're going to need. Right. So remember that the only question that's dumb is the question that you did not ask.
There you go. Can't make it no plain than that.
Second, you do not want to sign a lease to an apartment who in the picture had a stove, oven, fridge, washer, but you didn't actually see or you didn't verbally verify with the realtor what it had coming with the apartment.
Right.
Because there it's very, very common for people to buy their own appliances and take it from apartment to apartment to apartment. It doesn't matter if they have a lease for like 3 to 6 months. We've seen people, they'll put in all the appliances and then they'll take it all out because they owned it when they move. Right. So you might have saw appliances that belonged to the freaking person before you, and then you go to move into there and nothing is in there. So the tenant took it because they owned it. You saw it in the pictures. It looked great. I mean, I'm sure we gave our landlord pictures of our apartment with all of our furniture because he wanted the way ours looked, fully furnished, because he said it would be better to rent. But when we left, the appliances stayed because they were his, but all the furniture was gone. So they rented an empty apartment furniture-wise.
Right.
But he still used it in the listing, so buyer beware, be careful. Now, you have to think about what can you live without.
Right.
Now, most places do not have dishwashers or washing machines and dryers. Some places will, because especially if they know they're catering to like expats, they'll at least make sure that they have a washer machine, or if you're lucky, a washer machine and a dryer, because they know that we need it. But dishwashers are luxury out there.
Right.
It's a lot with the water usage. They want to keep the expenses down. That's a luxury item that they're not really going to pay for. And on top of that, they want to keep that water bill down. So you're going to see a lot of people, just like here in Portugal, that hang their clothes outside to dry, or in the DR, they tend to use laundry services like we did because they're really easy. They'll come pick everything up, drop everything back off at your house, and they're inexpensive. So when you're looking at things like that, I told you, I was like, it's really affected by the financial status of the country.
Right.
So you have to look at the level of what can the people afford, what are the apartments looking like because of that, and also when you're renting, I hate to say it, but the financial status of your owner. Because when you get a really well-off owner, they tend to buy in the newer buildings like ours and all the new ones that were being built around us. The people that are well-off invest in those properties, have a lot of investment properties so that when you're moving in, it's brand new, and that, not that that's important, but it's well kept, let's put it that way. It has an association, and they have it pre-built with all those appliances that they know that you're going to need, because their clientele wants to be, they want higher end. They want doctors to move into their apartments and homes. They want expats to live in their homes. So they're going over there because they want that US dollar.
Right, that's what they want.
So you always have to make sure that you negotiate in pesos, not in USD, because they're really going to push for that, or they'll sneak it in, and if you don't catch that in the lease, then all of a sudden you notice you're paying US dollars. So our apartment that we had, and if you haven't watched the video, go back and watch that tour of our apartment in the DR that we did a while ago in Santiago. But that is considered a luxury or high-end apartment.
Yes.
Now, in the US, I don't think it would be. That's like a normal apartment to me. That seemed like a normal, but it was luxury, and it was listed as furnished because it had a stove, an oven, exhaust, microwave, a high-end refrigerator, and a water heater.
Right.
So like I said, you have to really pay attention to that, and yet still ask questions so that you know what you're getting into. And when we're talking water heaters, we had a European water heater so that we had hot water on demand. Now you're used to that in the United States. That is not always the case in the Dominican Republic.
That's right.
Most of you guys that have visited and stayed at like Airbnbs, they freak out and they go, hey, my water's not hot. Well, because they have water closets, the water heater, the old-fashioned, and you actually have to turn it on.
Or switch the switch.
Yeah, switch the switch, right. That's what I mean. Turn a switch on, and then you have to let it heat up, sometimes 20 minutes if you're lucky to 30, but sometimes an hour before you're ever going to get hot water, meaning baths or for dishes or whatever you're about to do. So I didn't like that inconvenience. I like to have it on demand. So you have to look for that, because honestly, most of the older places, they have the older version where you have to actually switch it on. And like you always say, backup generators.
Right. That's a must. You got to have backup generators. If not, power go out, you ain't got nothing. You got to wait till the power comes back on.
And the one thing we didn't even think about, but I'm so glad we had it, the water cistern system, and that we didn't use city water, because during COVID, there was a lot of days and weeks that certain buildings and streets didn't have water. And luckily, because of our water cistern system, the only time that we got affected during COVID was they were behind, because everybody had such large demands and they were filling the cisterns.
Right.
So they were late, and they came and told us, they knocked on the door and said, hey, they're finally filling the cistern. You can't use the water for 3 to 4 hours. So that was the only time we were kind of inconvenienced.
Big time.
And always remember this, that when they say, and I'll put this in air quotes, new appliances, it doesn't always truly mean that the apartment or the home has brand new appliances. It means refurbished, because they fix and replace parts on existing appliances, because it's a way to save money. So again, when you're considering the country and the poverty or the high end, what's more, who are they going to cater to? Well, if somebody's in between or lower, they need refurbished more than they need new. So you got to think about that. So got to look at that. And dryers, that was a real eye-opener.
Yeah, we got here dryers. Yeah, because the situation works different
in the Dominican Republic.
And then in Dominican Republic, and then do here. It just don't work. Things are different when you get here. Now, like she was saying, back what she was saying about, we had a furnished apartment, but as far as appliances, but they didn't have no furniture.
Right.
And it didn't have no washer and dryer.
Right.
So now we had to buy a washer and dryer.
Yeah.
And some furniture. Furniture, a whole big old.
But we chose to do that.
And we chose to do that. We wanted to do that. And it came out really good. Inexpensive. Yeah. We had a good time.
And with that dryer, there's no regulator, so the intensity on the gas is much higher than what we're used to in the U.S.
Right.
It can scorch and actually burn clothes. So you have to buy a mechanism that attaches, and you put water in it basically, and it's a pump to... the gas can get that air filtered. I'm not a scientist, I can't tell you, but it does. You fill up with water, it puts a mist, and then lessens the intensity of the heat so that you don't literally burn your clothes while they're in the dryer. You have to have it. You're going to have to buy it. We had to buy it when we bought our dryer, when they came to Lincoln Inn, and I was like, what the heck? And also when you have a refrigerator, because out there they do have, the newfangled refrigerators that have your water and your ice makers and your craft ice makers and everything on it. But the thing is, you cannot hook that directly to a water line because the water is not drinkable. So you're going to need that side pump like we showed in one of our videos, and attach that to a 5-gallon or 10-gallon, however much jug that you are having delivered, so that it can pump into that refrigerator and give you actual purified water and purified ice cubes. Because eating that ice from regular water or drinking that water out of the sink, you're going to end up sick.
You're very sick. You'll have some problems.
Yeah.
Definitely going to have some problems.
So, and then last, of course, then on that list will be things like looking for, a garage or parking space. Security, of course, because you want to make sure that everything is inside your protected bubble. That means your, gates or buzz, whatever level of security you think you're going to need depending on where you're living. And we say safety, safety, safety. So, as much as you can get it.
Right. And we're not talking about something that we haven't heard or experienced ourselves.
Right.
We actually have went to some properties in the Dominican Republic, and we thought it had furniture, and it didn't have nothing. Only thing it had was the cabinets, okay?
And an empty space.
And the empty spaces where the appliances should be. So whoever was in that apartment,
they owned everything.
The apartment was cheap.
Yeah, it was cheap.
I think it was $300 a month. I'm thinking $300 or $400 a month.
It was like $400.
Okay, $400 a month. But now you got to go in there and get some appliances because you can't function.
Right.
As a person without your appliances. And when I say without appliances, they didn't have no ACs in your units and no rooms. You ain't see nothing. So now somebody got to come there, put an air conditioner in there.
There was no refrigerator, so let's start there.
No refrigerator, no stove. You can't cook.
Yeah.
You got to come in with a hot plate or something like that. And then
so you got to read. You got to read. You got to check. You got to ask questions.
Ask questions.
Yep.
Know before you go.
Yes.
There's no before you go.
Yes.
So, in the meantime, between the time, always remember that life is to be enjoyed.
Yes. And as always, make sure to hit that subscribe, hit that notifications bell, give this and all video a thumbs up, because hitting that subscribe and hitting that thumbs up helps us to change that algorithm so we can keep bringing you great content like this. And remember, all information is underneath every video.
So, until the next video, peace.